Hey gang, welcome back to another episode of Load the Cartridge, where therapy meets nostalgia, and today we're going to be specifically talking about gym class. I would say arguably one of the most chaotic aspects of our childhood. Now, I don't personally know what kids are up to in gym classes today, but to me, when I was younger, it seemed like coaches were just sitting around at 3 a.m. spitballing ideas and rolling with the first one in class the next day. And I do have to say that a lot of these games didn't really feel like exercise. More like psychological experiments or punishments. And yeah, I thought we could just go together and reminisce on some of the games I used to play back in gym class and see how chaotic it is, if you guys remember any of the games I'm talking about. Before I continue, you may be wondering why I'm dressed so fancy. I had a job interview and I didn't want to change. So to make it a little bit more casual, I'll come and meet you guys halfway and we'll just pop it open like that. A little less businessy, right? A bit more of a Florida con man look, but we're rolling with it. All right, so the first game or event or exercise that I wanted to bring up for today's episode is one that I think not many people will recognize the name of, but once I start describing it, you'll be like, oh shit, I know that game, but under a different name. But oh boy, I remember too. And before I really dive in and tell you the name of the game or what happens in it, I want you to remember and keep in your mind that this game usually happens in the dark or like with strobing lights, really dim lights. It's, yeah, just keep that in mind. Alright, Anthill was a pretty crazy game, and to jog your memories, it was a pretty simple premise. The class would be split into 4 teams, and each one would be assigned a color. Then the coaches come around and give each team 1 hula hoop and 6 beanbags in the color of their team. The beanbags were kept in the center of the hula hoop, on the ground. So your job was to run around and snag beanbags and bring it back to your hula hoop. The catch, though, is that you can't be tagged by someone from an opposing team. So if a different color than you tags you, then you die. And I don't mean like literal death, but oh boy, those coaches really wanted us to understand what post-mortem looked like. It's crazy that people are so upset about like what kids are allowed to read and listen to in schools and stuff, but then they have us playing this. So if you're tagged, what you do is lay on your back with all of your limbs stretched out. Like almost like a cat sleeping, but rotate that 90 degrees. So yeah, if you're tagged, you drop dead and shoot your limbs out, and then 4 of your teammates have to come over each grabbing a limb, or it doesn't count, and they drag you back to your HQ where you're revived inside the hula hoop. It's alive. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in the dark. Okay, you remember when I said that? In the dark. And I don't mean like pitch black room, but like maybe a single fucking light on. Like the dimmest one that the gym had possible. Or they would put a strobe light in the middle and have that fucking go crazy. It really felt like war. I think the schools were preparing us for like a military draft or something, because it felt so much like war. Barely being able to see and screaming orders to the front line through the strobe lights. I don't think Anthill was about strategy. I think it was about kids turning a simple game into World War Beanbag. Hey, stealing is bad. No, don't steal. Bad boy. Bad girl. Here. Steal like your life depends on it. This next game is really bizarre, and I cannot tell you for the life of me why they had us doing this in fucking gym class, of all places. This game is not complicated to explain. I'm sure a bunch of you already know what I'm talking about. You have a stack of cups, and your job is to quickly, like as fast as you can, stack them into a pyramid with a very specific technique. I can't remember. but then you're also supposed to take down the pyramid super fast. And it's like a Rubik's Cube thing. Can you solve the puzzle or do this action like the fastest? You're supposed to time yourself and get better. But again, I've just always wondered, why here? Why gym class? Like, nothing screams exercise more than cup stacking? Aggressively stacking cups? Beats me. In a game like this, your adrenaline is off the charts, but I think the practical application went over many people's heads. But thankfully for me, I'm going into bartending, so speed stack champ.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Speed stacks was crazy, but it did teach me one lesson. I'll never be better than that fucking bitch that took their cups home and practiced at home every day. There's always someone better out there, and you just have to accept that. Alright, number 3 on the list is more of a toy than it was like an activity. And you're probably thinking, toy? What toy? What toys did they give us in gym? Well, aside from playgrounds and jump ropes, they also gave us... They had us operating this heavy-duty, gym-grade equipment to play shit like sharks and minnows. Without any like real instructions or training, they just sent us into the battlefield and wished us luck, unarmed. I know that these colorful squares may seem fun at first, glance back down memory lane, but I remember what they really are. Mobile death traps. I swear to God, dude, like one wrong turn and you're eating hardwood floor. Just the more I look back and think about it, the more I wonder why they let us on them in the first place. It truly was a race to see who could crush their fingers last under the wheel. Alright, next up, please tell me you guys remember this. One of the most beautiful things that we could take away from gym class, the huge rainbow. I'm sure you guys remember these things. Flipping it up, making a giant air bubble, and sitting down inside. Now, while I was making this video, I found out there is in fact a game that you play inside of these damn parachutes, but I never played them. We literally sat inside and stared at each other until it collapsed. I mean, it was mesmerizing, but what was the point? Well, I was reading my script to one of my friends, and they explained that they used to play a game under the parachute where 2 people that are across from each other have to like run back and forth and like trade places without compromising the dome of the parachute. I personally believe that this was more about synchronizing our movements, possibly under fire. I mean, we're literally ducking for cover, so that makes the most sense to me. And there was always this one kid that would stay under the parachute and do absolutely unscrupulous shit. Everyone out here asking what the hell happened to James, and he's scooting his ass, wiping it on the hardwood floor under the parachute in secret. I think parachutes are only good for one thing as an adult: hotboxing the shit out of it with your friends. The most exercise I ever got as a kid was mostly like running, like a lot of cardio. It just seemed that so many games back then incorporated running into the game at least, and yeah, it just really tired you out. Which is kind of a genius move for kids, like, hey, go run around and tucker yourself out. Genius. Whoever came up with kids games, genius. However, there were no games that made me run faster than... If you can recall, this game is tag, but with one simple rule change. If you're tagged, then you lock arms with the tagger and become a larger force to be reckoned with. Until there's one person standing. Blob tag truly was the gym class equivalent of a virus outbreak. 1 minute, you're roaming free through the pastures, and the next, you're a part of the organism. I just remember thinking it felt like they were preparing us for a zombie outbreak. Or I guess, looking back now, COVID. The more I look back, the more I realize that gym classes weren't about fitness, or even teamwork for that matter. It was about survival. There were no athletes. There was the living and the ones sent to the nurse's station. And I'd like to think they trained us for the chaos of life ahead. Because honestly, nothing prepares you for adult life more than being hit with a giant foam stick or being chased by a giant mass of screaming arms and legs. It's almost like their own way of saying, like, good luck out there, kid. And looking back, I think I get it now. Life is dodgeball. Sometimes we hold the ball, and sometimes we're just running for shelter. But thanks again for sweating it out with me here in the Rose Garden, where we plant seeds of nostalgia and grow some truly bizarre memories. Gym class was tough, but at least we learned valuable lessons from it. Like how to avoid a scooter stampede, or to just ignore the kid throwing up in the corner. If you don't want to wake up in a cold sweat tonight, remembering our old battlefields, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and plant your own little seed here in the garden. Claim a patch of this digital grass now to stay in the loop and watch more zany childhood flashbacks. Just remember, duck, cover, and hope to God it doesn't leave a face-shaped welt. Stay nimble out there. Peace out.